All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Pennsylvania Preparedness. For anybody who has not been to my channel before, um, I know somebody asked me the other day while I was out on the Appalachian Trail. I gave them one of my brand stickers and they said, "What is your channel about?" And it sort of took me a second. I started with the generic answer of a little bit of everything. But basically, if you've never been to my channel before, um, basically it's about preparedness overall. There's a little bit of physical fitness thrown in there. There's a little bit of history, hiking, camping, survivalism, just about a whole slew of outdoors and adventurous things. So if you've never been to my channel, please think about subscribing. I appreciate every single one of you for stopping by. Hey, what's up, Celtic Grandma? Oh man, there we go. Holly Ivins, Patricia Hobbs. Hey everybody, Loretta, thanks for coming back. Appreciate everybody for coming in. As you're coming in, I have been getting better at remembering to ask. Please like the video. Also, if you like what you see, make sure to comment, subscribe, share it out to anybody else that you think might be interested in my channel. I'm really trying to make a big push for 500. If I get to 500, my plan is I'm going to make some patches up, and when I get to 500, I'm going to ask anybody that's subscribed to me to message me or meet me for a live stream, and then I'm going to start sending out some patches to a couple of my viewers. Hey, what's up, Love and Life? How's it going? I'm sure you guys notice I'm a little bit more enthusiastic than I've been during the winter time lives I've done. Something about summertime just brings out my happy place. I'm so excited to be able to talk with everybody. Um, so yeah, today we're going to be getting into a little bit of what my weekend adventure was this weekend. I had a nice long weekend. I'm still off. Still have off tomorrow yet, but yeah. So I got to explore. We'll start from the beginning. So I started off by going to one of our state parks here in Pennsylvania, Centralia State Park. It's actually pretty close to where I work and where I grew up in Lebanon County, Pennsylvania. And I'll tell you what, it really took me back to when I was younger. I used to actually camp at one of the cabin that I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. It's called Bordner's Cabin in Centralia State Park. If you've never been there and you live nearby or in Lebanon County or anywhere near central Pennsylvania, I highly recommend you go check it out. It's only about a 1.5 mile hike in, 1.5 mile hike back out. I also got to check out the fossil pit. I had no idea it was there all these years. Went up to the fossil pit, actually found some fossils. Not exactly the coolest ones. I guess one part was a coral fossil, and the other one were just some not crustaceans. I guess shelled. Yeah, like how do I put it? Like almost like clams or urchins or something like that. So that was interesting. I've never seen a fossil and been able to hold it in my hand, so that was pretty interesting. After I went to the Centralia State Park, I ended up going up to Centralia, Pennsylvania, which by the title of this video is one of the abandoned ghost towns of Pennsylvania. Essentially, I'm going to go into the history here a little bit more in depth as we go through, and if anybody has any questions, I'm waiting for more people to roll in. But essentially, what happened in Centralia is there was an underground fire, and the whole town had to be evacuated. I think the count of people that they had before they evacuated was 1,100, and I believe as of in the 1990s they were down to 15 people. I believe probably less than a handful of people still live in Centralia, Pennsylvania. That's funny, Patricia. No, actually, I did. At the they have a fossil pit at Centralia State Park. I never knew about it, and basically, I was looking for extra things to do in the state park, and I scrolled over. I was like, "What is that fossil pit?" So I checked it out, and essentially, there's a layer of, I forget which layer it is, but it's a layer that you can just go up and search around some rocks, and occasionally you'll find a fossil. It took me a good 20 minutes of looking and looking at the rocks and being like, I feel really stupid because I'm just looking at a bunch of rocks and like tossing them to the side. I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know if I was supposed to look for a specific color of rock or a specific layer. And I saw one person up there that actually had like a pickaxe, like a small one that was designed. Hey, what's up, Ark Waldman? How's it going? They actually had one that was designed to like crack open these rocks to look for fossils. I'm just like, I'm gonna look at what I can find and see if I find any fossils. Um, sure enough, I found some, and it was pretty interesting. So there was a little creek that ran by, rinsed it off, took it back, and it was pretty interesting. That part, I can't say it was the highlight of my day. I would say, um, what was the highlight? Well, okay, so after Border's Cabin, after the fossil pit, we ended up going to Centralia. There was also a geyser really close to Centralia. Essentially, I'm pretty sure that whatever water was coming out must have a high amounts of like iron ore or something, basically metal, because it stank. It smelled like sulfur, so I'm sure it's mountain water that's coming through Centralia area. You know, there's a huge concentration of coal up there. That's the whole reason for the Centralia fire, and essentially it was pretty neat. I'm actually putting together the video now. I might do some smaller videos throughout the week here too. Depends. Also, if I have some music playing in the background through StreamYard, so if anybody finds that it's too loud, let me know. I'll turn it off or down. This way, you guys don't just have to hear me ramble this whole time. So yeah, we checked out the geyser. I think that's right by Ashland, Pennsylvania. So after we checked that out, what else did we do? We went back. We went up to, I'm not sure the proper pronunciation, Aristes is the next town north of Centralia. And they projected that possibly, yeah, well, it's funny. I actually just finally today, I got the service. I switched to Straight Talk after a long 2 days of trying to argue with them, like about porting my number in, and eventually I just had to get really mean and nasty with somebody from the sales department and be like, hey, I'm about to cut up this SIM card, and I'm going to go to a different provider. Like, this bull crap. I've been calling for 2 days, and finally they got me on the service. So we're going to see if I can. I would love to do a live from Centralia, but one problem, it's about an hour north of me, so it's not exactly the easiest place to get to, especially because right now they have a lot of construction going on up that way. Well, it's summertime, so Pennsylvania state flower is actually traffic cones. Anybody that lives around here in Pennsylvania knows that to be true. So once I can get up there again, I might try to do live. Sorry, I'm very cold. I'm in my basement, and the air conditioning is actually cranked up. So you might see me shivering a little bit, because all I have is a t-shirt and shorts on, because I plan on, after this, I gotta mow some lawns. Oh, Little Lone Prepper, hey, how's it going? So before we get everything started, I want to remind everybody, please like the video. Also, if you don't mind, I would really appreciate if you would share it out to anybody that you think would be interested. Share it out on your channels, or comment, subscribe, stuff like that. Every little bit helps me very much. Like I said, I'm on a push to get 500 subscribers. If I get to 500, not only will that give me some justification knowing that what I'm doing is something that you all like, but also I plan at 500, I'm going to get a channel patch made. And I have a pretty cool idea of what I want to do, because originally I thought of just using my channel logo, but I thought of doing sort of a subdued kind of look where it's more black and white and maybe some dark green, so then it's not something that sticks out too much, so you can put it on a backpack and not have it be the most visible thing on your pack if you want. Um, let's see. Nobody has any questions so far about any of that stuff, so I'll just keep on going. So after I spent the day up in Centralia, checked out the geyser, we actually headed back down south through Centralia. Oh, also I forgot about Aristes. So that's the place just north of Centralia. It's the next town north, and basically, Aristes seems to be the next possible victim of the Centralia fire. Um, Basically, I'll get into a little bit more detail here on why exactly Centralia is so fascinating and such a tragic story. But success suggested summer meetup at Sotera State Park. Take advantage of the nice weather. Yeah, I do need to schedule another meetup for my preparedness group, and yours as well. Basically, I've been super busy. I actually just had a toenail removed, so then I can start getting back out on the trails and running around without extreme pain. So, um, yeah, so I'll get with you on that, Patricia, coming up here. But yeah, I definitely want to take advantage of this nice weather as much as I can, whether that be running or meeting with everybody else. So, um, after the second town, Aristes, basically went back south through Centralia. And what did I see? Oh, there is a shrine for Burnville. That actually was a town just sort of south of Centralia, which was even smaller. And I believe that was not necessarily the first victim, but I guess that town was sort of on the outs before Centralia had its fire. A shout out on my community page. See if we thank you very much, Ark Wildman. I appreciate that greatly. Every little bit helps, and every bit, no matter how big or small, I appreciate greatly. So basically, I'll get into a little bit of the history of Centralia and why I went there, and then I'll wrap back around to the end of the story of what I did after checking out Burnville Shrine. So the reason that I went up to Centralia, if you've ever watched the movie Silent Hill, I believe that's, yeah, Silent Hill. So basically, the whole look of that movie where these people go to this abandoned ghost town and it's all creepy and smoky looking, and the trees are all dead and everything looks like it's decomposing, is essentially they used Centralia as an example for the movie Silent Hill for that look. Now, if you go to Centralia, it looks nothing like that. It's actually green and beautiful, and for the most part, like if you drive through, you're not going to see broken down houses and rusted out cars. You're going to see a highway that goes straight through the center, where that was the main drag back in the 60s. But you can still drive down it. It's Route 61. Um, yeah, exactly. Little Lone Prepper. Yeah, it's kind of funny because when you think of it, you're thinking of some siren in the background and fog so dense you can't see through it, and you're thinking a monster is going to pop out any second. Where in reality, the real Centralia is being overtaken by nature again. I'm going to put up some videos coming up this week. You'll see what I'm talking about. Basically, if you do any research on Centralia, you'll see that they started tearing down the buildings. So right down the main drag, you're going to notice that there's just a bunch of bushes and trees off to the left and right. Sorry, the dogs are right at the top of the steps doing something. Probably nothing smart, but hold on. What are you doing? Back up, you big goof. You can't come down here. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. German Shepherd is he's trying to come down the steps. Back up, buddy. And I don't think he understands. He's way too big to attempt that. Rex, back up. Sorry, I might have to actually close that door up there. I love Rex to death, but he is not the smartest boy. Now houses are knocked down. Still see driveways, roads to nowhere. Yeah, I'll be right back. I gotta close this door so he doesn't fall down the steps. Back up. Back up, you big goof. Oh, I'm coming back. Promise. I just didn't want to see a lump of fur fall down the stairs. All right. Back. So, essentially, smoldering smoke, no. A lot of people say that you don't really see it until it starts to rain. Melted roads, apocalyptic landscape. That's what a lot of people believe that it's going to look like. Patricia's right. You don't really see a whole lot of that. Thank you, Donna Devine. I appreciate that greatly. All right. So, essentially, as you drive through, you don't really see much. If you were just driving, you wouldn't notice anything. You would just drive right down the route there, Route 61, and essentially the only thing that you probably notice is maybe a little bit of graffiti to left and right. You know, you might be thinking, why is there graffiti out here? Because right along the edge of the road, you know, there's nothing. You know, it's just trees. There is one house right along the main road that you can actually see, and that is I actually just watched a documentary the other day about it, where that individual, he was like, I'm not leaving, and it's basically a building that used to be like a half a double, so they actually had to put more brick supports on the one side that they took out the other house from. So it's got about, it almost looks like 3 or 4 chimneys. It's not chimneys, they're just brick supports to make sure that that wall doesn't fall in. So let's see. Sorry, running up there and telling the dog not to fall down the steps. Got a little something in my throat. So, yeah, you're driving through. You don't really see much other than the trees. I did pass one of the houses, which you're going to see in the video. There is another house that's set back in. You don't even notice it. If you look on Google Maps, you'd be able to see it, but it's almost like there's a bunch of abandoned cars. That house sort of looks like something that you would expect to see, I guess, in The Hills Have Eyes a little bit, you know, where there's broken down cars and almost like trash strewn about, but somebody does still live there, apparently. I watched another YouTube video and somebody said, yeah, somebody still does live there, which surprised me. I guess as soon as one of those people does expire, they tear it down immediately due to eminent domain, and then they just wait for the next person, and eventually Centralia will just be forest. Eventually, sorry. I hear the dogs doing something up there. I don't know if they're bored or what, but yeah. So Centralia, it was a neat experience. Every time I go up there, it's not really, how do I put it? It's not how people imagine. There's not a bunch of smoking craters with smoke pouring out of the ground. You're not going to see flames. I want everybody to know that right away. You're not going to see flames. The most that you're going to see is some little puffs of smoke. Yeah, it's like Chernobyl. That's a good example. After there's not very many people for so long, it's just nature takes back over. Nature is a driving force. And also the graffiti highway, which was a huge part of why people were coming to Centralia. They actually covered that up at the beginning of COVID. And essentially now It's covered in dirt. You can't see any of the graffiti. So people started tagging other streets that are still around. Hey, what's up, JS Genesis? Uh, when the thunder hit here, perfect timing. um, so yeah, it was an interesting experience. If you've never been to Centralia and you get a chance, I highly recommend it. That is a great example of a town that had a SHTF scenario. Now, granted, it's not like in a lot of these movies where, like 2012, I guess would be a great example where the whole earth starts to buckle and, houses and, things start to shift and fall into, great crevices and stuff like that. Basically, the turning point for Centralia. Okay, so in 1962 is when this fire started. I might as well start at the very beginning for any of you who don't know anything about Centralia, because if I just start talking about what I know at a certain point, it's not really going to do you any good. So Centralia was a big mining town in Pennsylvania. Oh, okay, awesome. Thank you, JS Genesis. So essentially, Centralia was a big mining town. It was big for mining coal and anthracite. And essentially, it wasn't really anything specific. It wasn't it wasn't really known for much. So years have gone by. The coal mining industry sort of started to hit a little bit of a slump. There were better ways to do things, and the mines sort of, not that there isn't plenty of coal up there, but essentially, after so long, you don't really get as much productivity out of the mines, and business starts to dwindle a little bit, or the price of coal and anthracite might go up and, sort of throw a wrench into the business. So as the years went on, nothing really set Centralia apart from any other mining town in Pennsylvania. Um, this whole region, Ashland to the south, or Burnville, a lot of these towns have names based on their time of having miners, and like there's Minersville close by. So it's like a lot of these towns got their names specific. Hey, what's up, Virginia Bushcrafter? How's it going? Um, so a lot of these towns got their names from their mining backgrounds, and Centralia actually got its name because they were trying to make it the center of a lot of these other towns. It never really panned out, but again, that's not what they're really well known for now. What they're well known for is back in the 60s, the government was trying to do away with a lot of basically environmental issues such as burning trash. So this town, a lot of towns in Pennsylvania, what they would do is they would have a town dump, and you would set the dump on fire. The fire department would come over, put it out. It was a planned thing where the fire department, the whole town would come out and essentially burn all the trash. Well, the problem with Centralia is back in the past they had a lot of, how do I put this? They had a lot of people who were going in and mining for themselves, and essentially setting up their own mine shafts illegally, and going in, taking coal and anthracite and selling it themselves. But a lot of these mines weren't set up properly, and they weren't exactly the most safe things. They weren't plotted out. Nobody really knew where they were. So one year in 1962, they had put the town dump there, and I believe it was one of the last years that they were going to do this, where the fire department was on standby. They started to burn the trash, and the fire department put it out. No big deal. Then the next day they got a call, and somebody said, hey, the trash dump still isn't out. So they went back out, put it out, left. About a week or so later, they got another call. Somebody said, hey, the town dump is still burning. So they went out, doused it, crazy amounts of water, thought that they had put it out, And they realized after putting it out this time that there was an abandoned mine shaft right next to the dump where the smoke was coming from. So they realized, oh no, we have a mine fire. Well, the problem with this mine fire is that it connected with a lot of the other mines in the area. So once the fire started in that mine, it continued on to the next mine shaft, to the next mine shaft, to the next mine shaft that were all connected. And the ones that weren't connected, they were able to, it's superheating the ground and reaching into other areas and traveling through the coal. So if there's a coal deposit, essentially it is going through that coal until it reaches the other side. There might be another mine shaft there, travels through there. And the whole town had mine shafts in and around it. Pennsylvania is already really well known for its potholes and sinkholes. So essentially, what happened is these sinkholes and the the coal fire in the mines started to make the ground unstable. Originally it wasn't that big of a deal. Even in 1966, the town's, I believe it was their 200-year anniversary of the town. 100 year. Yeah, their 100-year anniversary of Centralia. They actually planted a time capsule for 50 years for 2016. They were so optimistic, and they ended up digging that up eventually. But so 1966 rolls around, and there is a boy that's playing in his backyard, and there's a huge hole that opens up behind the home. The child falls in. Luckily, this is not a sad story yet because he was actually rescued by his cousin, but they were measuring temperatures coming out of the ground at over 300 degrees Fahrenheit. So, as you can tell, that's not exactly something that you want to be living around, knowing that the ground can open up at any second and the temperatures are over 300 degrees. Also, the very first victim, or I guess, the very first victim, we'll say here, of having to move out, or the first structural victim, was actually a local gas station. There was a Exxon gas station in Centralia, and essentially the owner one day, he was pumping gas, and he noticed that the fuel line was a little warm, so he essentially put a temperature gauge down into the gas and found out it was, what did they say, 112 degrees Fahrenheit. So obviously much hotter than it should be. Typically the ground stays around 50 some degrees, typically on average. So, okay, not too dangerous, but that's not good. Your gas shouldn't be 100 some degrees. And throughout the days and months, he kept measuring the temperatures, and it just kept getting hotter and hotter. Eventually, he had to drain the tanks, and his building he had to abandon. So that was the first victim of the Centralia mine fire. So after that, the mayor and the government, everybody came together, and they tried to figure out what they were going to do, because the only other option other than that is to let your town essentially crumble and burn underneath you, and who knows what could happen. So the government came in and tried to help. And essentially what they did was they tried a bunch of different things, from pumping water into the ground to trying to dig an underground trench, to trying to seal off some of the caves, stuff like that. And really, nothing came of it. It didn't prevent or stop or slow down the fire. By the time they were done digging the one trench, it had actually passed the trench, so that did no good. So the next question is, what do you do next? Well, unfortunately, when it comes to an underground fire, you can't really do much. You can't see it, and when you do, it's too late. So they started basically telling people, like, hey, you have to evacuate. Exactly. I was waiting for somebody to say it. We're from the government, and we're here to help. one of the scariest phrases anybody can hear. So essentially, that's where they were at. They were at either stay and possibly, deal with the consequences, whether it's having your home get swallowed up by one of these gaping holes, or maybe your house burns down in the middle of the night, or maybe you're sleeping at night and carbon monoxide or dioxide creeps into the house and you perish. So the government started eminent domain, buying some of the houses. The people that actually still live there now don't own their homes. They're just essentially squatters in their homes. They were offered below market value even for the time for the house. Um, and essentially, the ones that have stayed, I know that there's a mayor currently of Centralia, and it's like, what can you do? Uh, in good faith, the government even built a municipal building with a fire station in, which is relatively new. If you go there, you'll see it's in good condition. But they did that as a sign of good faith to be like, hey, we're still trying to put it out. We're going to do good by you. And here we are, how many years later, over 50 years later, and ground still burns in Centralia. So essentially, most people chose to take as much money as they could get for their homes, left with their families, their belongings, and anything that they could bring. Um, and now, whenever somebody leaves or expires, they tear down the house. And I think there might be 5 homes left. The only signs that there was a town there is they left the cemetery. I don't know what's ever going to happen to that. The graffiti highway is completely covered, so you can't even. That used to be the old Route 61 that they had to divert because the old Route 61 had fire right below it, and essentially was making the earth crumble and crack. And there used to be vents coming right out of Route 61. They tried to fix it a bunch of times, but it was not worth it. So they had to completely reroute 61. Reroute Route 61. So after that, it's sort of just been in limbo for the last how long, with the ground still burning beneath it. And it is a pretty interesting place to go. I went up there. Anytime I saw a posted sign or I saw private property, no trespassing, I respected their wishes immediately and turned right around because I don't want to ruin it for anybody else. As much as, there's trash everywhere, from kids going up there and partying and drinking and doing whatever else, graffiti everywhere. I personally, as cool as I think it would be to, do something like that, at the same time, it really, first of all, draws attention to the people that are going up there. Hey, what's up, Devil Dog Prepper? How's it going? And it's really sad to see people deface all that stuff, because there is people that still live there and that's their home. One of the guys that they did an interview with, he said, I was born in this house and this is where I'm going to die. And they said, well, okay, are your kids able to take over the house when you pass away? He said, no, the government owns it. I'm just living here until then. And even if they did, they said that the parents didn't have any, the kids didn't have any interest in staying there because of the what the government was saying. I do have to say that there's what did they say? There's like still over 400 million tons of coal underneath. 400 million tons of coal underneath the town yet. Now, granted, a lot of that's probably going to burn. I don't know if the government could get it if they wanted to, but if they wanted to, they could. And now a lot of people think that that's a conspiracy theory as to why they're kicking the people out. But at the same time, somebody said something that I agreed with immediately once I heard it. They said if they wanted that coal, they'd have got it, and they're not wrong. If they wanted that coal from that town, they were going to get it, and they could have done a lot better things than set it on fire and they would have found better ways. So, um, yeah. So that's the sad and unfortunate story of Centralia, Pennsylvania. Today, it is only known for the graffiti highway and its past history of the government letting down its people. Um, it is a really cool place to go for the fact that you can just walk in. There are places that you have to respect the boundaries of, such as there's a few cemeteries where a lot of people still have people buried. There's a church that people still attend Sunday service on. I believe it's a Russian Catholic church. They didn't say Roman Catholic; they said Russian Catholic, which I didn't know was that popular, but apparently it is. So it's got that and a couple houses, and then Route 61 intersects with another intersection, and that's the town now. It's There's nothing really going on there. Everyone, I'm gardening and hands are dirty. Good. Got to get your hands dirty. It's how you know you're doing something right. So, oh no. All right. Sorry if you guys lost me for a second or vice versa. So back to where I was at the beginning. I know I said that I was going to reroute to the beginning of, or to the end of my story, where I said after I got done with Centralia, I went to, there's a shrine of the Mother Mary in Burnville. Well, let me read through these. They started at fair market value. They started adjusting the price from their team of realtors, had to give the city 500 non-refundable checks and use their realtors. So essentially, yeah, there's a shrine just south of Centralia, right off Route 61. It's called Burnville, Byrnev. Yeah, Burnville. Not spelled like Burn. But essentially that there was a town there, and there's a shrine, a religious shrine that also has in it a lot of the history and some pictures from some of the people from Burnville, and it actually has what is it? An email address that you can email them, ask some questions about the town, because that's their history. These people, they had to leave everything behind, their family, their loved ones, the very land that they, were born and raised in. They had to leave it because, of what happened. So essentially, it's a really unfortunate story. But so after we were done visiting that shrine, took some pictures, we left and went. Yeah, I already said about the geyser. After that, we went to, the heck was that called? There's a pizza place in Shenandoah, Pennsylvania. Sorry, there's a lot of weird names for a lot of these places because it really sounds one-sided for sure. Yeah, unfortunately with Centralia, that was pretty one-sided. They were given the option, move out and get a little bit of money, or move out. That's essentially what they were told. I guess that's a lot of cases with eminent domain is, hey, either get out and take what we're giving you, or get out still, and we're not asking. So, went to this pizza place in Shenandoah. Actually, one of my coworkers recommended I go there, try it out. They have sweet pizza. Now, I don't have much of a sweet tooth, but essentially, it was really good. It did have a little bit of a sweet taste to it, but it wasn't overpowering. The crust was crispy, and the cheese was good. The dough was great. There's a local tea company. I can't pronounce it. Guers, Geyers, I think that they pronounce it. But basically, it's this tea up there that everybody drinks, and it's almost like how Southerners have such an affinity for sweet tea. Well, the people up in Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania, have an affinity for this specific tea. If it's not that, they don't want it. So it's just one of those things where I got some of the tea with my pizza. It was a good meal, especially after hiking around and stuff like that all day. So back to after after that, I keep forgetting. It was a jam-packed day. I was ready for bed when I got home. Essentially, after that, we went to a county park in Schuylkill County, Sweet Arrow Lake, and they have a falls there. That was pretty neat. I'm going to be putting as many of these videos up as I can as I edit them. But essentially, it was a county park that has a dam. I'm pretty sure it's a man-made waterfall, but nonetheless, it is very pretty, and it's got some nature trails around it. It was really nice end to the trip. It took us about an hour to get back home, but essentially, yeah, it was a really cool trip. The whole thing from Bordner's cabin, where I had to jump over a down tree to get through and help some bicyclists get their bikes up over the tree, to ending with the waterfalls. It was a really nice trip overall. Not too far from me. I got to go to the state park I like to go to. I actually have a plan too. I'd really like to start doing videos more like this. So when the video comes out, if it seems like something that you're into, if you like the history, if you like me going to the state parks and reviewing them or anything, let me know what you like about the videos. Comment, share, make sure that you like the videos, subscribe. If you're watching now and you like what you hear me saying, make sure you do any of that. I feel like anybody who's watching probably is already a subscriber to me, so I'm probably preaching to the choir. Sweet tea is mandatory, little known prepper says. Well, I don't have much of a sweet tooth, so the only tea that I drink is a local company. My dad actually worked for them. Swiss Premium. Used to be Weingert's Dairy in Lebanon County, Pennsylvania. And I love their tea cooler. I always say my comfort food is tea cooler and Doritos. If I'm ever injured or sick, that's what I go to. I actually just bought this because it was such a hot day and I knew I was going to be hanging out. So back to the very beginning. Bordner's cabin. That's at the Centralia State Park. If anybody would like to check it out. Sweet tea or no tea? Okay, I see. Well, us Northerners don't exactly have the following for sweet tea like y'all do down there. But sometimes I feel like I just can't. Sweet tea is just too sweet. I don't have a sweet tooth. I just don't. And I know unpopular opinion. More for you. More sweet tea for all of you guys. Movie on Netflix called Dark Waters. Yeah, I think that's about like the town that like they have an attorney or something that like basically suing for people that are getting poisoned by the local water, and they're trying to. Yeah, I know it. I think I haven't seen it, but I want to watch it. So, Bordner's cabin, Centralia State Park. I got to stop reading the comments for a little, or else I'll get distracted like a squirrel. Centralia State Park in Lebanon County, Pennsylvania. It also extends up into Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania. Essentially, they have a cabin up there that used to be owned by somebody due to eminent domain. They were told him like, hey, you can't stay there. You got to sell it. Well, he said no. He put his foot down and said no. So they left him keep it, but he wasn't going to be able to pass it on to his descendants. So what he did when he passed was he actually donated it to the Boy Scouts of America. Now, I guess it's just the Scouts of America. I forget what they did with it, but comfort food is biscuits and gravy. So they gave it to the Boy Scouts of America, and that is where my first affinity, my first love for nature began, I believe, is at Bordner's cabin. When they gave it to the Boy Scouts of America, I camped there a couple times, and I will tell you what, going there at nighttime, you don't see it, but in the morning time, or whenever it's light out, right behind it, there is a waterfall, I can't pronounce it. Griggs Falls, Agriggs Falls, but essentially it's a waterfall, runs under the interstate. Part of it is man-made. I know that sort of takes a little bit of the beauty out of it, but it is really nice to see it. It's beautiful. I remember I used to try to go up the rocks. A lot of times it was too slippery, so I never really always made it up there. But it's a really nice area. I loved camping there. Nice trails. So the Centralia State Park has a rail trail going through it, to get to the Bordner's Cabin part, it's 1.5 miles in, 1.5 miles back out the same way, and it's shaded due to the trees. But really, it's one of those things where almost anybody can hike it if you're able to do a level surface for a long time, or if you can bicycle to it. It's a really nice area. Still really well maintained. There's actually volunteers that go up there and do work on it. But yeah, I fell in love with the outdoors, I think, at that cabin when I was in Boy Scouts, because waking up in the morning, going out there and seeing the beautiful waterfall that they have there, it's just astounding. Again, it's not the most amazing waterfall in the world, but when you're young and in Scouts and seeing that kind of stuff, it's awe-inspiring. Um, so after that, hiked back out, um, and the next part, I never even knew that this was here. There's actually a fossil pit. Which way would that be? That would be east of Gordner's Cabin. If I would have followed that trail and continued northeast, I would have ran into the fossil pit eventually. So essentially, there's a section of exposed rock there that you can actually find fossils in, and I found one. It's not the most impressive. I didn't bring it with me to show you guys. Not that I think you'd be able to see it anyways, because it's like that small, like the little fossils that are in it. So there's nothing really for you to even see. And it's not like it's fossilized bone. This is like fossilized, like something was imprinted onto the rock and then just disintegrated essentially. So, but it was still pretty cool for me to find it. I'm glad I did. But it's really just when you first walk by it, you just think, oh, it's a giant mound of dirt. Wow. What is there to do with that? Climb it, climb back down. Right. But there's also a really nice stream that runs right behind it, so that was really beautiful too. Hiked back out. That was only 0.8 miles. Actually, according to my watch, it was 0.5 miles in, 0.5 back out. So, okay, good. Well, that's good to know, because that's what the video coming out here this week is going to be. I'm going to stitch together a bunch of stuff from each one of those trips specifically, if I can. And then I'm also going to try to edit together one big video as a overview of what I did. That way you guys can see the whole trip in one shot, and or specifically one section of it, because I do everything on my phone and I don't have time to edit a 30-minute long video. My phone just doesn't have the space for it. So actually one of the next places, one of my goals, other than hitting 500 subscribers, by the way, so if you're not subscribed, please do so. Please let anybody else that might know. Let them know that I would love a subscriber or two. Don't forget to like this video. Besides hitting 500 subscribers, I would like to make it my goal this summer to at least start going to every single state park in Pennsylvania. Now, first of all, Pennsylvania is not small. It's a darn big state. I think we're like 13th largest, something like that. Obviously, everybody thinks that I think everybody thinks that Texas is the largest state. It's actually Alaska, but actually Alaska, they have the most shoreline too. I'm pretty sure. So essentially, if I can get out to them, I would love to do videos at all the state parks. One of the next closest state parks to me is Memorial Lake State Park. That one should be pretty easy for me to get to. It's right by Fort Indiantown Gap in Lebanon County, Pennsylvania. And then Michaud State Forest, they have a park there. I know that we also have a pretty close national park. I think we have 6 national parks in Pennsylvania. I'm gonna have to look into how many national parks we have, but I think it'd be cool to hit every state park, every national park in Pennsylvania, and then work my way up. Also, if I'm able to, now that I got my toenail chopped off, I would really like to hike the Horseshoe Trail in Pennsylvania. That's about 140 miles. Yes. Yeah. Patricia Hobbs. Yeah, she said exactly it. Valley Forge goes from Dauphin County, Pennsylvania, down through to Lebanon County, Pennsylvania, down by Myerstown area, down by Wilmelsdorf. There's a park down there. Can't remember the park name, but it's down there. And then it continues southeast towards Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, down by Philly. And apparently you can hike the whole thing. There's no gaps. There's no, like, there are some areas that you have to walk on the road. A large amount of it is actually road trails. So you got to watch out for cars, making sure nobody smacks you. But I thought of doing that this summer. I don't think I could do it in my 4-day weekends that I have planned. So I have a long time off in September. Maybe I'll try to do it then. But essentially, 20 miles a day, take at least 5, about a week. If I do 20 miles a day, because a lot of it is not mountainous, I could probably knock it out in 5 to 7 days. I mean, without any unforeseen issues, you know, whether it's getting sick or whatever. But yeah, I might try to do that. I'd like to section hike part of the Appalachian Trail this summer. One of the things I really thought would be cool to do is either hike all the Appalachian Trail through Pennsylvania or do what's called the 4-State Challenge, which is where you hike Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania sections all in one day. I believe it's like 42 to 43 miles of the Appalachian Trail. You're hiking north from, what is that called? Harper's Ferry, Virginia. You're hiking north until you hit the Pennsylvania Mason-Dixon line, essentially. And then you can continue to hike or whatever. So I have my GoPro working again, so I'm going to be trying to throw out some videos of that. I also thought of I found one of the bloopers from last year when I was trying to hike up the Appalachian Trail by Duncannon, where I ran into a lot of unforeseen issues. I think in the video I said I ran across 5 downed trees. There was rattlesnakes in the way going up a mountain. And when I'm talking about downed trees, I'm not talking about the one like in my last video where I'm joking around about a tree maybe that thick. No, I'm talking about like trees that are hundreds of years old across the trail, like probably a good 100 feet long. So I can't get up over them. I have to go around the whole tree 50 feet down a trail and back up, or up a trail and back down. And a lot of times there's poison ivy and, you know, snakes. I ran into a porcupine. I ran into deer. I ran into a bear. You know, it's just, I look back at that hike and I realized that somebody somewhere was trying to tell me, hey, this is not for you today. But yeah, I think that was one of my first encounters with a rattlesnake. And when I mean encounter, I mean like within, like I could have tapped it with my trekking pole. Let's see. Lions and tigers and bears, oh my, yeah. More like rattlesnakes and porcupines and deer and bear, oh my. Want to make it to Philadelphia this summer. Want to go where Ton Tavern was. Well, I know why you want to go there, and that sounds like a pretty cool idea. I've always wanted to go there myself. So if you do a video, let me know. I would love to watch it. Porcupine, we don't have any here. Well, I can tell you one thing, Little Lone Prepper. There's one thing I learned about porcupines. Porcupines. Yeah, either way. The porcupine creatures, they can climb trees. I didn't know that till I was working at Hershey Park in the zoo, and we found one of the porcupines. They thought it had escaped, and sure enough, it was just chilling up in the tree because it was so hot. It decided to climb up, get away from the hot ground a little bit, and it was just chilling up in the tree. But what they can do is they'll rub their quills together too as a warning, so you'll hear like this noise. It's almost like a rattlesnake in a way, how it makes noise to get you away from it. Well, they do the same thing. Has built a bar on that spot and named it Ton Tavern. It would make so much money. Yeah. Well, I know that they still have the sign, like the Pennsylvania marker out there, so at least you can get a picture or a video of that. But okay, so what was I talking about before I got off on this tangent about porcupines and the Ton Tavern? Oh, they love to chew electric wires. Yeah, they do, because essentially they have teeth just like a rat. Their teeth just continue to grow, so they have to always be chewing. But yeah, so Borner's Cabin said about the fossil pit. Then I went up to Centralia. We're at 56 minutes, so if you guys have any questions so far about any of the stuff I was talking about today, please let me know, because make sure you go to the Visitor Center, Independence Hall, City Tavern. I've heard of Ton Tavern. We'll check it out. Grew up in Philly. Yeah, I mean, definitely for Devil Dog Prepper. Yeah, there's a ton of history in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is just jam-packed. And also, you got to get a cheesesteak. Patricia, you might be better at telling him where to go, because I know Gino's and Pat's are catty-corner from each other. I think you could probably eat one of each, Devil Dog, but you're probably better off splitting them with somebody, because they are whopping and they are filling. But those are like the touristy. That's like the tourist cheesesteaks. Granted, they're not awful, but that's like the tourist trap kind of cheesesteak. I know that there's a couple places that people always tell you about, and it's a little hard to find out which one is actually the best. Is Philadelphia haunted? It's gotta be. With what they had going on there back in the day. There's sections of Philly that are, I mean, it's like Gettysburg. There's got to be something going on there. So let's see. Yeah, I mean, if you guys don't have any questions about Centralia or any of that, definitely watch for the videos coming up. I'm trying to think if there's anything I missed. I know. No. I think I pretty much covered everything. I'll be coming up with a video here. I'm going to put out some shorts first about some of the adventures. Try to make small shorts about each little adventure so you guys can sort of get an idea of everything I checked out. Yeah, it was. Here, I'll put that up there so anybody else can see. But yeah, so essentially, I'll put up some of the shorts. I'd really like to start getting out here. I'm going to get back into my physical fitness stuff now that I took a little hiatus. I got my toenail yanked off. Found out what the main issue with that is too. So now I got a little nubby quarter toenail. So once that comes back in, we'll get that all squared away. But if there's also any places you guys want me to check out here in Pennsylvania, please let me know. It used to be back in the day where I had my motorcycle. I would drive to Philadelphia just about every day I had off, or I'd go to the beach and just do stuff. So I might be able to try to do some of that stuff. If you guys have a suggestion for me, I think the next big park I want to check out is Michaud State Forest, which is more southwest of me, over by Carlisle, Mechanicsburg area. Sorry, every time I'm down in this basement, I get a little bit of a dry throat. Hopefully it's not radon or something like that, because that would be awful. But, yeah. Does anybody have any questions about Centralia? I actually watched quite a few documentaries on it before I went, because I wanted to see if I could see anything. What else? The geyser. I'll put the name and description and location of all the places that I checked out, even the sweet pizza, because that was interesting. If you get a chance to try it, I highly recommend it. I don't have a sweet tooth, and I was a huge fan of that sweet pizza. Now, if I went back and it was between that or regular pizza, I don't know how the regular pizza is, so I'd probably get the sweet pizza again. I like to go to Washington Crossing. I'm guessing that's probably in like Washington County or something like that, Pennsylvania, or somewhere. But take care, Devil Dog. Oh, see you, Devil Dog. I didn't see you heading out of here. Thanks for stopping in, buddy. But yeah, if anybody has anything else, please let me know. Stay tuned for more videos like this. I'm going to be trying to recap a lot of my stuff. And also, like I said, if you know anybody or you don't mind sharing out the videos, please let me know. I'm trying to hit that 500 mark near New Hope, Pennsylvania. I'll have to look up where that is then and try to figure that out and see. But if you have a state park up by you and you want a free sticker, let me know. And if I head up to whatever state park that is, I'll try to get you a sticker. Crossing Bucks County, where Washington crosses. Oh, okay. Well, I know where that is. I got you now. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Okay, that would be down the way if I were trying to do the Valley Forge. Not Valley Forge. I'm trying to do the Horseshoe Trail. That would actually lead me right down that way, I'm pretty sure. Because no, Valley Forge is a little no. Either way, I can figure out where it is. That's actually on my list of places I wanted to go. I have way too many places I want to go and not enough time. I don't understand how all these YouTubers are able to go to yeah, I know, KP Heathen. I keep trying to get around to send. I thought I was gonna meet you at the bug out weekend, and then it didn't come to fruition. So I'll just send you one. I'll send you a nice little letter too. I'll send you 2 stickers. That way you can use one and then figure out what you want to do with something else. Just because it's been so long. That's okay, little lone prepper. Well, we're not too far from Ohio, so just saying, there's lots of places up here. I highly suggest you go anywhere in Pennsylvania. Philadelphia would probably be first on my list because it is so rich in history. It's not too far away that you can head to the ocean. You can also check. It's just jam-packed with history. But they do got a lot of crime, so be wary of that. Green Axe Crossing on Christmas Eve. Oh, I did not know that. That's pretty cool. I might have to try to check that out. Excuse me. But yeah, if you guys have anything else, please let me know in the comments here. Don't forget to like before you head out. Make sure that you share it if you don't mind. You don't have to. Just be nice if you did. And then also make sure that you comment somewhere in here. It really helps the algorithm. Even if you just comment on my videos and say, nice video. Or if you go ahead on one of my videos and you hit the like button and if you share it out, some people might see it. Those comments do help the algorithm and help my videos get pushed out to other people. So, unless anybody has anything else, I think I'm going to head out of here. I think I actually saw one of my neighbors text me and said that it downpoured So I don't know if I'm going to be able to mow. But nice thing is it'll be cooler out. So um, I also have unlimited data now for my phone. So I'm going to be testing out some lives coming up in some of these places. So when that happens, comment, let me know how it is, stuff like that. All right. As always, stay safe, stay prepared, and see you all